Give yourself 6 months to change everything 6 months from now. You could wake up to a completely different life, or you could still be stuck in the same place, with the same regrets, the same excuses. The difference, one decision, one promise to yourself. I'm giving myself 6 months. No matter what it takes, everything changes. This is not about magic. It's about momentum, about discipline, about power, your power. The next 30 minutes will challenge you to rise, to break, to build, to become. Because 6 months isn't forever, but it is enough to change everything. Why 6 months can change everything? Most people go their entire lives believing change is a long, painful, and impossible process. They tell themselves they need years to heal, years to grow, years to rebuild what they've lost or become what they truly want. But the truth? It doesn't take years to change your life. It takes 6 focused months. 6 months of relentless commitment. 6 months of showing up for yourself like your life depends on it, because it does. 6 months where you stop breaking promises to yourself. 6 months where you say no to distractions and yes to discipline. 6 months where you stop waiting for permission and start creating your future with your own hands. You don't need a new year. You don't need a fresh calendar. You don't need everyone to believe in you or cheer you on. You just need one moment where you say, "Enough. I'm done living like this. I'm ready to change." That moment, that decision, it's the ignition switch. It lights a fire, and if you feed it daily, consistently, fiercely, it will burn down every limit you once believed about yourself. 6 months of effort in the right direction can do more than 6 years of half-hearted attempts. Because the problem isn't that time is short. The problem is that most people never go all in. They dip their toes in growth, hoping for transformation without sacrifice. They want change, but they don't want to get uncomfortable. They want results, but they're not willing to pay the price. But here's the truth. The life you want is expensive, and the currency is consistency. Pay it daily. Pay it without excuses. And watch what 6 months can do. Think about it. 6 months ago, where were you mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually? For most people, that question stings because they realize that nothing changed. Or worse, they've gone backward. Not because they lacked the ability, but because they lacked the belief and the structure to take control. And if that realization hurts, good, let it, because pain has a purpose. It tells you something has to change, and that change doesn't require a miracle. It requires a plan, a promise, and your permission to begin again. 6 months is enough to rebuild your health. It's enough to fix your finances. It's enough to launch the business. It's enough to transform your mindset, change your habits, and reset your entire life. But only if you show up every single day like your future depends on it. Because it does. People wait for motivation to come like some magical force. But motivation is unreliable. What you need is momentum. And momentum is built by movement. Not big, flashy moves, just steady, daily steps in the direction of who you want to become. There is something powerful about the number 6. It's not forever, but it's long enough to test you, long enough to challenge the old you and invite the new you to rise. It's long enough to break patterns that have been holding you hostage for years. Long enough to build habits that can carry you for a lifetime. And most importantly, it's long enough for you to prove to yourself that you are not the same person you were yesterday, that you are not your past, that you are not your fear, that you are not your failures. You are capable of more. You have more in you than you've been living. You've just been distracted, pulled away from your purpose by noise, doubt, and comfort. 6 months is the call back to your core, the return to the version of you that's been buried under excuses and fear, the version that knows what they want and is willing to fight for it, to suffer for it, to earn it, not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. 6 months of obsession, 6 months of waking up with purpose, 6 months of doing the hard thing when it's the last thing you want to do. That's all it takes. Not to be perfect, not to have it all figured out, but to be unrecognizable from who you are today. To look in the mirror and finally see someone who didn't quit this time, someone who kept going, someone who rewrote the narrative. 6 months. That's the invitation. Will you take it? Draw the line. The power of a day one. There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize they've had enough. Enough of waiting. Enough of feeling stuck. Enough of pretending they're okay with average. That moment is the spark, the line between who you've been and who you're ready to become. It doesn't need a crowd. It doesn't need a loud announcement. It happens quietly, sometimes painfully, when something deep inside of you says, "No more." That moment is day one, and nothing changes until you claim it. Day one is not about a perfect plan. It's about a personal revolution. It's the moment you stop lying to yourself. The moment you stop negotiating with your excuses. It's when you look at your life honestly, without filters, and admit that something has to shift. Not tomorrow, not next Monday, not when everything lines up. Now, you don't need a new schedule, or a gym membership, or a life coach to get started. What you need is to draw the line. To decide that the version of you who settles, tolerates, waits, and breaks promises does not cross over into this next season of your life. Every powerful transformation begins with a clean break, a mental reset. Not the kind where you set goals with no action, the kind where you take full ownership. That's the real difference between people who change and people who don't. It's not motivation. It's not talent. It's the willingness to say, "This is the day I stop being a spectator in my own life." Day one requires courage. Not because it's complicated, but because it demands honesty, and honesty hurts before it heals. You have to look in the mirror and admit that you've let yourself down, that you've made promises you didn't keep, that you've built habits that are slowly breaking you, that you've stayed in places, relationships, and patterns that are draining the life out of you, and you've called it normal. That's not easy to face, but it's necessary, because once you've told yourself the truth, no one can use it against you. You take back your power when you stop pretending and start owning your story. Drawing the line isn't just symbolic, it's spiritual. It's a declaration that from this point forward, you will not carry dead weight into the next chapter. You will not negotiate with the version of yourself that's addicted to comfort. You will not ask for permission to grow. You will not apologize for wanting more. And most of all, you will not wait for clarity to begin. You will create clarity through action. You will figure it out while moving. You will clean up the mess as you go. Because you've wasted enough time standing still, you see, most people never start because they think they need confidence first. They believe they need to have it all figured out before they make a move. But confidence isn't a requirement, it's a result. It's what you gain after you take the first hard step. That first workout, that first phone call, that first early morning, that first uncomfortable boundary. You don't become confident by waiting. You become confident by doing, by choosing courage over comfort just once, then again, until it becomes who you are. Day one isn't about changing your entire life in a single moment. It's about changing your mind. It's about planting your flag and saying, this is where it turns. It's about creating internal pressure, not stress, but urgency. Because when you really want something, when you're truly tired of your own cycles, you don't need to be pushed. You pull yourself. You stop flirting with potential, and you start executing your purpose. This is the part of the journey where everything becomes real. The part where there's no more talking, no more hoping, no more waiting for motivation to arrive. Day one is raw, it's personal, and it's powerful. It demands a different energy than you've given before. Not because you're changing for someone else, not because life forced your hand, but because you finally understand your worth, because you're done settling, because you've drawn the line, and now there's no turning back. Silence the noise. Cut. What's killing your growth if you're serious about changing your life? In 6 months, you need to understand something critical. Growth is not just about what you add, it's about what you eliminate. What's draining you is not always obvious. It's not always the big things. Sometimes, the slowest poison comes from what seems harmless. The noise, the constant distractions, the low-level chaos you've learned to tolerate. And if you don't silence that noise, it will silence your growth. There are people in your life right now who drain your energy every time they speak. Environments that lower your frequency the moment you walk into them. Habits that seem innocent but cost you hours of your life every single week. Scrolling through feeds that leave you feeling anxious, envious, empty. Conversations that go nowhere but backward. Entertainment that numbs your mind and deadens your purpose. And worst of all, thoughts that replay the same tired storytelling. You're not enough. That it's too late. That this is just the way it's always going to be. You cannot rise surrounded by things designed to keep you low. That's the truth. You can't expect peace when you're plugged into noise 24/7. You can't expect clarity when you never disconnect long enough to hear your own voice. The modern world is built to distract you. It profits from your confusion. It thrives on your addiction to convenience and comparison. And unless you learn how to cut through it all, you will keep mistaking noise for urgency and distraction for purpose. Every scroll is a trade. Every notification is a negotiation. Every hour you give to meaningless consumption is an hour you don't give to your mission. And it adds up slowly, quietly, until you look up and realize you've spent months doing everything but what matters. The world will keep feeding you excuses to stay the same. It will wrap them in comfort and call it normal. But normal is the enemy of great. Normal is the enemy of transformation. And to rise above it, you have to detox from it ruthlessly, unapologetically. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional. You need to protect your energy like your future depends on it, because it does. You can't keep giving your time to people who don't respect your boundaries. You can't keep watching the lives of others and wondering why yours feels stuck. You can't keep feeding your mind with garbage and expect it to create gold. If your inputs are toxic, your outcomes will be limited. It's that simple. Silencing the noise means getting brutally honest about what no longer belongs in your life. It means saying no more often, not because you're selfish, but because you're serious. Because your peace is not negotiable. Because your growth deserves protection. Because you are finally done living in reaction mode, constantly responding to other people's agendas while yours collect dust in the back of your mind. And yes, it will be uncomfortable. People won't always understand. You'll feel the itch to go back to the easy, the mindless, the familiar. But every time you resist that urge, you reclaim another piece of yourself. You get sharper, stronger, quieter inside, but louder in purpose. You start hearing things you've been missing: your intuition, your goals, your calling. And once you hear those things clearly, you won't unhear them. You won't be able to pretend you're okay settling anymore. This is what silence gives you: clarity. And clarity is power. When you cut the noise, you start to see what's really been holding you back. You realize how much energy you've been leaking, and more importantly, you realize how powerful you become when all that energy is finally redirected into building, into healing, into growing, into becoming the person you were always meant to be. Build the rituals that build. The new once you've drawn the line. Once you've silenced the noise, there's a space left behind. A space where chaos used to live. A space where doubt and distraction once had power. That space, it's sacred. It's where the new version of you begins to take root. But here's the truth: change doesn't just happen because you want it. It happens because you build it. And what you build is shaped by what you do daily. Not occasionally, not when it's convenient. Daily. That's where your power lies, in your rituals. Rituals are not just routines. They're not robotic checklists. They're identity sculptors. When done with intention, rituals slowly rewire the way you think, move, feel, and respond to life. They are the quiet architects of transformation. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And if your daily systems are weak, chaotic, or inconsistent, then so will be your progress. Your habits are the foundation beneath the future you want. And if the foundation is unstable, everything you try to build on top will eventually collapse. This is where most people miss it. They chase intensity, not consistency. They burn out trying to change everything in a week. But the person who wakes up every morning and sticks to the small, powerful disciplines, the boring stuff, the hard stuff, the unsexy stuff, that's the person who wins long term. Because success doesn't come from occasional big moves. It comes from repeated small wins that compound over time. Rituals are how you build those wins into your life, one at a time, brick by brick. Start with your mornings. The way you begin your day sets the tone for everything that follows. You don't need a complicated, hour-long routine filled with cold plunges and journaling marathons. You just need clarity and control. Wake up with purpose, no snooze button, no grabbing your phone to scroll through other people's lives. Own your first hour. Move your body, even if it's just stretching. Feed your mind, even if it's just 10 pages of a good book. Speak your intention into the day. Morning rituals remind you that you're in charge, that today is not happening to you. It's happening for you, and you're showing up to meet it with strength. Then there's how you manage your energy throughout the day. What you eat, what you consume mentally, who you allow into your space. These are not small decisions. They are momentum shapers. If you're putting junk in your body, chaos in your mind, and toxicity in your environment, how can you expect focus, clarity, or strength? Your rituals must support your energy, not sabotage it. Fuel your life the way an elite athlete would prepare for competition, because this is your arena, and every day counts. Rituals also teach your mind discipline, even when you don't feel like it, even when no one's watching, especially then when you keep promises to yourself. No matter how small, your confidence grows. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, someone who finishes, and that belief, that's priceless. Because once your identity shifts, everything else begins to follow. And it starts with the little things. Making your bed, drinking your water, moving your body, finishing the task, not skipping the hard part. These small victories become the new standard for how you live. You want to change your life in 6 months? Create rituals that make it impossible not to. Stack your day with habits that reinforce the person you want to become. Don't rely on emotion to get things done. Build structure that moves you even when the motivation is gone. Because it will disappear. But your rituals, they remain. They carry you through. They become your anchor when life tries to shake you. And over time, they become your power. You don't need to overhaul everything overnight. You need to start building systems that are aligned with your vision, step by step, day by day, slowly replacing the old you with a version that is stronger, clearer, more grounded. The rituals are how the transformation becomes real, not just something you talk about, but something you live. Pain is part of the process. Embrace the storm. If you think transformation feels comfortable, you've been lied to. Real change doesn't come wrapped in ease or convenience. It comes wrapped in struggle, discomfort, and often pain. The storm is inevitable. It's the raw, unfiltered part of growth that most people run from. But if you want to change everything in 6 months, you must learn to welcome the storm not as a punishment, but as a signal that you are alive, that you are breaking old patterns, that you are stepping beyond what you thought possible. Pain is part of the process because transformation demands sacrifice. It asks you to leave behind the familiar, even if that familiar is broken or unhealthy. It challenges you to look at your life with brutal honesty and confront the habits, thoughts, and people that no longer serve you, and that confrontation hurts. You will feel exposed, vulnerable, maybe even afraid. You will doubt yourself and wonder if it's worth it. This is normal. It is necessary. It is part of the deep work that separates those who grow from those who settle. But pain isn't your enemy. It's your teacher. It's a compass pointing to where you must go next. When you feel the burn of discomfort, it means you are pushing boundaries, crossing thresholds, expanding your limits. That ache in your muscles after a hard workout, it means you're building strength. The ache in your heart when you say no to toxic relationships, it means you're building boundaries. The ache of loneliness when you choose solitude over distraction, it means you're reclaiming your mind. Pain is not a sign that you're failing. It's a sign that you're becoming. Learning to embrace pain is the single most powerful mindset shift you can make on your journey. It means refusing to let discomfort dictate your decisions. It means showing up even when the easy choice is to quit. It means knowing that growth is not a straight line, but a winding path full of highs and lows. Every step forward might bring resistance from inside and outside. People will question you. You might question yourself. But those storms, they are the birthplace of resilience, character, and true transformation. There will be moments when your heart feels heavy and the world seems cruel. Moments when your body wants to give up and your mind floods with doubt. Those moments are the test. They ask, how badly do you want this? Are you willing to endure the pain today for the freedom you crave tomorrow? Because make no mistake, freedom and growth do not come without a cost. You will pay in sweat, tears, and sacrifice. But on the other side of that storm is a version of yourself you never thought you could meet, stronger, wiser, unstoppable. When you choose to stay and face the storm, you learn an invaluable truth. Pain is temporary, but pride lasts forever. The pain you feel today will fade, but the strength you build will remain. The discomfort you experience will pass, but the confidence you gain will grow. And when you come out on the other side, bruised but unbroken, you will see how every hardship was a stepping stone. Every moment of struggle was an essential part of your rebirth. No one talks enough about this, because it's uncomfortable to admit. We want quick fixes, painless victories, easy transformations. But life doesn't work that way. If you want to change everything in 6 months, you must stop resisting pain and start inviting it in. Not because you seek suffering, but because you understand that true growth requires it. You must become comfortable with being uncomfortable. You must welcome the storm with open arms and an unshakable spirit. This mindset will set you apart. It will give you power over the obstacles that once seemed insurmountable. It will help you see every struggle as a sign that you are alive and moving forward. When others quit, you'll persist. When others complain, you'll act. Because you've learned that pain is not punishment, but progress. And when you embrace the storm, you no longer fear it, you thrive in it. You become unstoppable. Discipline over motivation. Show up anyway. Motivation is a fickle flame. It burns bright when things are easy, when inspiration strikes, or when everything seems aligned just right. But when life gets tough, when the alarm rings early or the pain sets in, Motivation often flickers and fades. That's why motivation alone will never change your life. It's not enough to get started. You have to keep going. And the fuel that powers you through the dark days, the dry spells, the moments of doubt is discipline. Discipline is the quiet warrior that fights for your dreams when motivation runs out. It's the commitment to show up even when you don't feel like it. It's the decision to keep putting one foot in front of the other when your heart screams to stop. Discipline is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. It's what turns good intentions into lasting results. Without discipline, motivation is just wishful thinking. But with discipline, you become unstoppable. Imagine waking up every day, no matter how tired or uninspired you feel, and doing what you know must be done. That is discipline. It doesn't care about your mood or your circumstances. It doesn't wait for permission or perfect timing. It moves regardless. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's the muscle you build by repeating small actions again and again until they become non-negotiable. We often believe that passion alone will carry us through. But passion is a fire that can burn out quickly if not fueled properly. Discipline is the steady hand that keeps the flame alive. It's the routine that creates consistency. It's the refusal to give up when the initial excitement wears off. The truth is, motivation is a feeling, discipline is a decision. And decisions have the power to transform your life. When you commit to discipline, you're telling yourself that your goals matter more than your feelings. You're choosing to respect the vision you have for yourself, even on the days when you feel weak or uncertain. Discipline means doing the hard work when no one is watching. It means pushing through resistance, self-doubt, and distraction. It means honoring the promises you make to yourself over and over again. The journey to change is filled with moments where you won't feel motivated. You'll face setbacks, fatigue, and temptation to quit. But discipline is your anchor during those storms. It's the force that keeps you grounded and moving forward. Because discipline creates habits, and habits shape identity. The more you show up consistently, the more you prove to yourself that you are reliable and capable. This self-trust is the foundation of real transformation. Discipline also frees you from the tyranny of your emotions. It teaches you that you don't have to be perfect or feel ready to start. You don't need to wait for the right moment or the perfect mindset. You can begin right now, with whatever you have, wherever you are, showing up anyway, regardless of how you feel. Builds momentum that motivation alone cannot sustain. Think about the most successful people you admire. What separates them is rarely talent or luck, it's discipline. They built their success one disciplined choice at a time, day after day. Long after motivation faded, they learned to trust the process and keep moving forward, even when the path was difficult and unclear. Discipline became their secret weapon, their unshakable foundation. So when you feel motivation slipping away, don't wait for it to come back. Don't rely on feelings to decide your actions. Instead, lean into discipline. Choose to show up. Even when it's hard, choose to do what you said you would do. Even if it feels uncomfortable or inconvenient, choose to be the person who doesn't quit who honors their own commitment above all else. This is where true power lies, not in fleeting bursts of inspiration, but in the steady, relentless pursuit of your dreams through discipline. When you build that muscle, you build a life that no setback can break, no distraction can derail, and no obstacle can stop. Discipline turns the impossible into possible. It is the foundation upon which every extraordinary transformation is built. Celebrate small wins, fuel your momentum, and visualize your future self. Live that reality now. Change doesn't happen all at once. It's not an explosion, but a series of sparks, small victories that light your way forward. When the path feels dark, celebrating those small wins is not just about feeling good. It's about reinforcing your journey, reminding yourself that progress is happening, even when it's invisible to the outside world. The small wins are proof that your efforts are not wasted. They are the pulse of your momentum, the heartbeat of transformation. Too often, we overlook the tiny steps, the extra 5 minutes of focus, the decision to say no, the morning you didn't hit snooze, the conversation you held when you wanted to walk away. These moments are the building blocks of change. When you recognize and honor them, you're telling your brain that effort matters, that perseverance is worth it, that you are moving in the right direction. Celebration doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't need fireworks or applause. It can be as simple as a quiet nod to yourself in the mirror, a deep breath of gratitude, or a moment of reflection on how far you've come. This recognition creates positive feedback loops, making you want to keep going, even when motivation dips or the journey gets hard. Every small win is a seed planted, and with each one, you cultivate resilience and belief. But celebration alone is not enough. You must also carry your vision clear, vivid, and alive in your mind and heart. Visualizing your future self is one of the most powerful tools. You have to bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be. It's not daydreaming, it's purposeful imagining. Seeing yourself as the person you're becoming, feeling what it's like to live that life, and acting with the confidence that it's already real. When you visualize your future self, you start to make decisions aligned with that reality. You ask yourself, what would that person do right now? You adopt the habits, mindset, and behaviors of that version of you before the world around you catches up. This mental rehearsal creates a magnetic pull, guiding your choices and actions in a way that propels you forward. It builds an internal roadmap that keeps you steady when external circumstances threaten to derail you. This practice rewires your brain for success. It shifts your identity from a distant dreamer to a present doer. The future self you visualize becomes less of an abstract idea and more of a living, breathing presence that walks with you every day. You start living as if the change has already happened. You carry yourself with the dignity, strength, and clarity of someone who has faced the storm and emerged transformed. Visualizing your future self also anchors you during moments of doubt. When fear, impatience, or frustration arise, you remind yourself of the person you're becoming, and that reminder becomes your shield. It silences the internal critic that says, "You can't," and replaces it with a quiet, unwavering confidence that says, "I will," because you've seen it, you've felt it, and you know it's possible. together. Celebrating small wins and visualizing your future self create a powerful cycle. Recognition of progress fuels belief, and vivid vision guides action. This synergy builds unstoppable momentum that carries you through the inevitable struggles and setbacks. It makes the 6 months ahead not just a challenge, but an invitation, a call to become the person you were always meant to be. When you start valuing each small victory and hold a clear image of your future, you no longer live in reaction to your circumstances. You live in creation of your destiny. The process becomes a dance between honoring your current efforts and stepping boldly into the future you're designing. And with each step, no matter how small, you get closer to the life that once seemed out of reach. Surround yourself with what lifts you. The power of environment. No one ever achieves greatness in isolation. We are creatures of connection, shaped and influenced by the world around us in ways more profound than we often realize. If you want to change everything in 6 months, it's not enough to change your mindset or your habits alone. You must change your environment, the people you surround yourself with, the spaces you inhabit, and the energy you allow into your life. All act as silent forces, either pulling you down or lifting you higher. The power of environment is subtle but immense. Imagine trying to grow a delicate flower in rocky, barren soil, choked by weeds and shadowed by towering trees. No matter how much you water it, no matter how carefully you nurture it, that flower will struggle to thrive. But place that same flower in rich, fertile earth with plenty of sunlight, and it will bloom beyond expectation. Your environment is that soil. It either feeds your growth or stunts it. This means you have a responsibility first to yourself to curate your surroundings with intention, to choose carefully what you let into your life and what you keep out. Toxic relationships, negative voices, draining habits, and cluttered spaces can all act as anchors, weighing you down and dimming your light. They drain your energy and cloud your focus. If you want to change everything, you must create an environment that fuels your highest self. Surrounding yourself with what lifts you isn't just about avoiding negativity. It's about actively seeking positivity, inspiration, and support. Find the people who believe in you even when you don't believe in yourself. The ones who challenge you to be better, who celebrate your victories, and who hold you accountable when you falter. Community matters. Connection matters. Because growth is rarely a solo journey. When you walk with others who are on their own path of transformation, their strength becomes your strength. Physical space matters too. The places you spend most of your time send silent messages to your brain about what is possible. Is your space cluttered, chaotic, and disorganized? It might be mirroring the turmoil in your mind. Is it clean, calm, and inspiring? It can become a sanctuary that supports your clarity and creativity. Even small changes adding light, plants, or meaningful objects can shift the energy and transform how you show up each day. Energy, both your own and others, is contagious. Pay close attention to who and what drains you, and make the hard choice to step away. It may be uncomfortable, even painful, to distance yourself from familiar patterns or people who don't support your growth. But it's necessary. You don't have to carry the weight of others' negativity or limitations. You deserve space to breathe, to dream, to expand. Conversely, seek out environments that elevate you. Surround yourself with books, music, art, and media that inspire and educate. Engage with mentors and role models whose lives reflect the future you desire. Immerse yourself in communities that nurture your growth. These influences will shape your thoughts, beliefs, and ultimately your actions. They will raise your standards and remind you of what's possible. This isn't about perfection or isolation. It's about conscious choice and protection of your energy. Your environment becomes the ecosystem for your transformation. And when that ecosystem is vibrant, supportive, and aligned with your goals, change happens faster and more sustainably. You begin to move in harmony with your surroundings rather than in resistance to them. Remember, the people and places around you are a reflection of who you are or who you will become. If you want to be extraordinary, you must immerse yourself in extraordinariness. This is not vanity or ego. It is a strategic, loving act of self-preservation and growth. Your environment can be your greatest ally or your biggest obstacle. The choice is yours to make. As you take these steps to surround yourself with what lifts you. Notice how your energy shifts. Notice how your mindset clears. Notice how opportunities begin to appear because you are no longer weighed down by negativity or distraction. You are stepping into a new reality, one built on a foundation of support, inspiration, and alignment. Transformation is not done in a vacuum. It is done in community, in space, in energy. Your environment is the invisible hand, shaping your success. Choose wisely, choose boldly, because the soil you plant yourself in today will determine the harvest you reap tomorrow. As you stand here, at this moment, know this. The power to change your life lies within you. Not tomorrow, not when conditions are perfect, but right now. Giving yourself 6 months to change everything isn't about a magic formula or sudden miracle. It's about commitment, courage, and choosing every day to rise, to push, to grow, no matter what. You've heard the truth. Transformation requires patience, discipline, and the willingness to face pain head-on. It demands you celebrate every small victory and hold tight to the vision of your future self. It calls on you to curate an environment that lifts you higher, to embrace discomfort as the forge that shapes your new reality. 6 months from now, you will look back and realize that the hardest part was showing up when no one else believed in you. The moments when you chose discipline over desire. The times you stood in the storm and refused to back down. Those moments will become your legacy, the foundation of your rebirth. So make a promise to yourself today. Promise that you will be patient but persistent. Promise that you will honor your journey with kindness, but demand your own greatness with fierce determination. Promise that you will never settle for less than the life you dream of. This is your 6-month revolution, your chance to shed old limitations, break free from fear, and step into the extraordinary. The path will not always be easy, but it will always be worth it. Because on the other side of these 6 months lies a new you, stronger, wiser, unstoppable. You have everything you need, the time, the strength, the power. Now, go claim it. Show up for yourself every day. and watch how everything changes. The future you've imagined is waiting. Go meet it.